What is up, guys? Welcome to the Sidequest Doubles League Season 1 playoffs. I'm joined here by the commish himself, Baker OE.
What's going on, man?
All right, and today we got a exciting match between the Toronto Staraptors and the Bad Lombres. So, Baker, what are your thoughts going into this week?
Really, I know that Kane really likes using the Durant as his main, damage dealer. So I want to see if Dan's got anything set up for that to kind of counter that.
Yeah, definitely we've seen a lot of that Durant going in. That Dynamax plus the Hustle Life Orb combo definitely can just rip through teams. I'm curious to see if he'll lead off with that going into the game. But we are going to get right into it here. We'll see what the two leads are. Um, Dan obviously has switched up his team quite a bit going into playoffs, so still not sure what he's packing here. Um, so this will be a very informative game, to say the least.
And we do see that Togekiss Durant lead coming out of the Bad Lombres.
Yeah, and Dan's matched that with the Milotic and the Lucario. Now, we have seen this Lucario using Follow Me in the past. We've also seen him run some Dynamaxes on it before, so we'll have to see how he decides to play with that. Obviously, the Togekiss is a very good support Pokemon, one of the best Pokemon in the format, and it does help that Durant a lot with the Follow Me. Um, Lets that Durant really just do its thing without a lot of risk to that frail Pokemon. And that Durant should be the fastest Pokemon on the field. Maybe the Lucario. And we'll see if he decides to go for that Milotic here. I know it does get lightning coverage, but yeah, as expected, we do see the Follow Me come out from the Lucario. We'll see if Kane has matched that. Yep, the Togekiss also goes for a Follow Me. So it's gonna be up to these two support or these two other Pokemon to be doing damage this turn.
And it looks like
Let's
the
see.
Durant's going to go for the Max Knuckle into the Lucario slot, but Lucario is holding that Chople Berry.
Yeah, that is a very good prediction from Lamar coming in here. He does have that Chople Berry to half the damage of any type of fighting attack that comes in. Very good read from the Durant. Durant wants to boost itself up there, get even stronger levels of power. And the Milotic does go for a coil here. So Dan does have a couple options. He can go for a Hypnosis at 100% accuracy, or he can go for some kind of Muddy Water play, or even a Dynamax here. We'll see what he decides to go for. This is a pretty awkward position for Kane here and the Bad Lombres, as he does have to worry about that Milotic at +1 accuracy, and he does have to worry about some kind of Dynamax here. We'll see what he decides to go for on the Durant. Probably another Follow Me coming out from the Togekiss. We do see that Dan has decided to click Follow Me on the Lucario. It actually is going to be a Max Flutterby that comes in here.
That's
Interesting
really
choice. I do
surprising.
like that. I do like that for the special attack drop on the Milotic. He does end up finishing it off the Lucario. Opts not to go for the Max Knuckle again, which would have given him a buff. Oh, but the competitive on
Yeah,
Milotic. Wow, okay, I did not think about that, and I don't think Kane realized that either.
yeah, that's
So
rough.
Milotic does go for the Hypnosis, puts that Togekiss to sleep, and now you gotta wonder, what is Kane's option here? Does he switch out the Togekiss? Does he keep it in, hope for the wake up turn one? I mean, I don't think this Milotic's going down to even to that Durant, especially if he decides to Dynamax. Milotic, very bulky Pokemon. Um, and now he brings in the Hydreigon. I believe that he does run Scarf on this thing, so it
Yeah, he's
should be
running it.
outspeeding.
Yeah, he's running a
Yeah.
Scarf on it to try to outspeed the Durant, and I did see the Heat Wave coming out there on the Hydreigon, so
Yeah, okay. So the Heat Wave, obviously a very, very powerful attack into that Durant. Durant 4 times weak to that attack. So you gotta wonder if he's just gonna drop to that. Hydreigon is a very strong special attacker, even though it does get the spread reduction. So he goes for a max guard on the Durant. Very smart move here, I think.
absolutely,
Try
yeah.
and wait out the Hypnosis, the sleep. Um, Kind of scout what this Hydreigon is going for, because this Pokemon has not seen quite a lot of play in this league, season one at least. So he goes for the double spread, the Muddy Water, and the Heat Wave. Does get the accuracy drop on the Togekiss. Togekiss is still looking pretty healthy, but obviously that sleep is going to be crippling it going into these next turns. Durant loses the Dynamax, so now he has to worry about that hustle actually being a detriment to him. We'll see what he decides to go for here.
I wonder if he could possibly, if he brought the Arcanine, if he could switch in the Arcanine over top of the Durant and take advantage of its ability. No, okay, he switches in the Rotom here.
Yeah, the Rotom comes in. I do like that play. Getting Durant out of that immediate danger. You know that Heat Wave definitely would have killed there. Trying
Absolutely.
to keep that Togekiss, preserve that Togekiss as much as possible. We'll see if it will live another hit. It would be very nice if it woke up here for Kane, but we'll see. Yeah, it does wake up. Does go for the Dazzling Gleam,
But
which
it's
is
at a
very
minus two
very nice.
accuracy as well. Oh, that's huge. He
Oh
knocks
yeah.
out the Hydreigon.
Oh. Wow, that is very, very good. Very lucky here.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely. So
see
now we go ahead.
Dan is down to his last two Pokemon here with the Snorlax. He does have that Dynamax available, and he does have that Milotic at +2. We'll see what he decides to go for. It looks like he's running a Curse variation of the Snorlax here. Um, and this is still Kane on the back foot here. He's got two very injured Pokemon. He's got, well, he has to contend with the Milotic at +1 accuracy and +2 special attack. Togekiss does opt for a Helping Hand on the Rotom. See what Rotom's gone for here. It is going to be another Muddy Water coming out, which is going to hit fairly hard. It does take out the Togekiss. Obviously, Rotom resists that being a water type. Um, Rotom does go for the Thunderbolt. We'll see if the Helping Hand is able to take that KO. It is not able to
No,
get the
it's not.
KO there. Wow, that is very unfortunate as he would love to get rid of that Milotic. That thing is a huge threat right now. Got all those boosts. Gets the boost on Snorlax, and now you gotta wonder, what is Kane's play here? He's got to contend with those two boosted Pokemon, both very powerful and both able to Dynamax still. Does bring out the Durant again. We know that thing has Life Orb. It has Hustle. It's gonna be hitting hard if it hits. So we'll have to see what goes on here. Looks like Dan might be going for like the Hypnosis here, try and get some more sleep turns on the other side of the field. And it looks like he may opt to Dynamax the Snorlax here. Snorlax is at +1 attack, +1 defense. Its speed is dropped, but that shouldn't be relevant against Kane's team, as Snorlax is going to be the slowest Pokemon on the field regardless. So we'll see if he does decide to do that. It looks like he might. But yeah, looking from Kane's perspective here, he really wants to finish off that Milotic. That Milotic is a huge threat. If he can get rid of that, the Snorlax is very slow and it's vulnerable because of that. Even with the boost, hopefully he can get some big attacks on it. But yeah, it looks like he does go for the Dynamax here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to also remember that Kane still has a Pokemon in the back. So he has the Duran, he has the Rotom, but he still has his fourth Mon in the back.
True, that is very true, and we haven't seen what that Mon is yet. He has been saving that, preserving that for the end game here. The Hypnosis does go off. Oh my gosh.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge for Dan there getting the Hypnosis onto the Rotom.
Yeah, and this Milotic is outspeeding that Rotom, which is slightly surprising for me. The Gmax repletion comes out, replenish, sorry, kills the Rotom, so that sleep didn't end up being super relevant, but it did lose him that one turn, which might have ended up killing the Milotic, so
All right, and so
not
it's the
sure. Okay, it looks
Arcanine in
like,
the back.
yeah, Arcanine coming in. The Intimidate going to be really big on the Snorlax, but it does give that another boost to that Milotic. Oh gosh, I am not sure what Kane is going to do here. This looks like a very bad position, especially considering that type advantage Milotic has over Arcanine. Maybe Arcanine can go for some kind of Will-O-Wisp or something here. Looks like Dan is targeting down the Durant. Knows that thing still hits real hard, even if it does have that potential of missing again. So let's see what they go for here.
All right, Duran comes out with the Iron Head, and that is not enough to take out the Milotic. That is so unfortunate for Kane here. Arcanine does get the
Will-O-Wisp,
Will-O-Wisp off.
yeah, that's very big. Gets that attack halving on the Snorlax. Muddy Water comes out, but it looks like that Arcanine is packing the Pasho Berry, which is going to have that effectiveness. which is very nice. Oh my gosh, that thing still hits so hard. I believe it has a +4 at this point with the competitive. So Durant goes down, that being a very frail Pokemon. Arcanine living barely with the Pasho Berry, but
But it's gonna
now
feign here to the
it's
Max
coming in.
Quake.
Yep, Max Quake coming in, gonna finish the job. Wow, that was
Yeah,
a commanding defeat from Dan. Very well played that game one.
absolutely. No, it was just. I mean, going into game two, what does Kane really have to do here to win? I believe he's just gonna have to hard focus down the Milotic if Dan decides to bring it again, right?
I think that's the play as well. I think that Milotic just sat on the field the entire game, was able to get off some really nice boosts, that coil turn one, and then a couple competitive boosts that Kane might not have been expecting. Competitive is a very difficult ability to play around, especially since we're in a Dynamax format where a lot of those max moves will drop just incidentally that Pokemon's stats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really, really interested in seeing what Kane is gonna pivot to here in game two.
He does have a couple of good matchups up his sleeve. He has the Rotom he could lead off with. He obviously has that Togekiss. Togekiss can be a big presence. And there is definitely the potential for him to KO that Milotic early if he doesn't tunnel on the Durant again. We'll have to see. He also has the Tyranitar in the back, as well as Whimsicott, which we did not see this game. So we'll see if... Looks like Dan might be switching it up here from our insider info. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what Kane leads here. It might also... I think he's gonna avoid leading with Arcanine just because that Intimidate versus the competitive obviously is a very big disadvantage. But I still think that Arcanine does a lot of work here. Hopefully he can bring it out a little bit earlier if he KOs the Milotic, because that thing can really shut down the Snorlax or even the Lucario if he decides to go that route.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, just from looking at it, I don't really think. I was gonna say I don't really think the Whimsicott does much for him here because I mean he's already outspeeding most of Dan's team anyway. But it looks like he's gonna come out with the Whimsicott and the Tyranitar lead.
Yeah, absolutely he does. And obviously that sand setup is pretty nice. Gets some chip down on the enemy team and gives the special defense boost for the Tyranitar. We'll see what he decides to go for with the Whimsicott. Whimsicott's a very flexible Pokemon. He can set that Prankster Tailwind, which is very powerful, or he can go for some kind of boost, potentially like weakness policy strategy on the Tyranitar. He might Dynamax early again. We'll have to see. And obviously on the other side of the field, Mimikyu is a very strong Trick Room setter. We'll see if he decides to go for the Trick Room. Against the Whimsicott, it's possible. He's also vulnerable to Taunt, though. Follow Me comes out. Okay, so that is going to stop any sort of taunt shenanigans from the Prankster Whimsicott. Yeah, he does go for the taunt. Lucario is going to eat that for the Mimikyu. Okay, a Rock Slide coming in from the Tyranitar. Not going to hit very hard on that Lucario who resists it. And obviously the Disguise coming through for the Mimikyu. It looks like that Mimikyu has gone for a Trick Room here. Yeah, and I think he is that room service, so he will be underspeeding these other two Pokemon. And Mimikyu does have a very good matchup against Tyranitar, having that Fairy type. Tyranitar also more specially bulky in the sand, Mimikyu being that physical attacker. So with Whimsicott on the field, this is still not a bad position. Obviously, that Prankster Pokemon can take advantage of Trick Room just as well as a normal Dimensions. We'll see whether the Tyranitar comes out here. It is in a pretty vulnerable spot, but Tyranitar is a very bulky Pokemon, also hits back really hard. He has that Dynamax option, and Lucario has been taunted, so no more Follow Me's are going to come through. We'll see if that's Weakness Policy. Yeah, it does look like that procs the Weakness Policy on the Tyranitar, so that was a bit of a risky move. Let's see, he might just click. Okay, Iron Head comes in onto the Mimikyu, does pick up the KO there. And I'm not sure what this Whimsicott has gone for because it did not have some kind of prankster there. But it looks like, wow, the Lucario does pick up the KO on Tyranitar. Wow, that is very bad
Yeah,
for
absolutely. And
Kane
and
here.
that was the thing. Like Whimsicott did go for that taunt, which ended up hitting the Lucario. So he had to know that Lucario had some fighting stab on his kit, like going into that Tyranitar.
Yeah, that does seem to be a potential blunder here. So now we're looking at Trick Room with Lucario out, and he has to know that the Snorlax is the potential switch here. He brings out Durant, but Durant is going to be pretty much the fastest Pokemon on the field. You gotta wonder, what is the move here? The Whimsicott went for a Moonblast. It does hit neutrally into the Lucario. He does have some options here with the Whimsicott depending on what he's packing with that Prankster. But it does seem like Dan is in a commanding position here with the Trick Room up.
Yeah, absolutely. The Durant is definitely going to be going last, and he opts to Dynamax it here, turn one as far as when it's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, the Durant obviously wants to be in that Dynamax state, but he does not want the Trick Room up. So we'll see how he tries to defend it here. Whether he switches out the Whimsicott or whether he just goes for another taunt on the Snorlax. Obviously that Durant does... Oh, it does take the Yawn from the Snorlax. It's huge.
That's super unfortunate for that Durant.
Wow, okay.
Is gonna go down.
Yeah, Whimsicott goes down to the Meteor Mash, does not even get to move that turn. It's very unfortunate. Max Knuckle is going to come in, is going to hit that Snorlax very hard. Obviously, Durant is not something to be trifled with. Does get the attack boost. And now, actually, Kane seems to be in an okay position. If he brings out Togekiss here, which I assume he has in the back, he does have that Follow Me, and that will do a very good job of protecting that Durant for the last 2 turns of Dynamax. Both of Dan's Pokemon are very injured here and definitely can be KO'd with one more hit from that +1 Durant. So yeah, it is going to be the Togekiss. Obviously, you have to assume that Lucario is going to go for a Steel Stab on the Togekiss here, definitely threatening that Mon. But Durant is in such a good position here. Other than the Trick Room being up, it is going to move last, obviously, but with the Follow Me, it is going to be relatively safe. So he's just waiting out those Dynamax turns and the Trick Room turns. Yeah, the Follow Me does come out here. And obviously, Togekiss is going to eat any attacks here. Snorlax goes go for the double-edged strongest stab attack. Not going to do a whole lot without any boosts. Meteor Mash coming out from the Lucario. It is going to be a Babbery Berry on the Togekiss, so that's a very smart move. We'll see if this still picks up the KO. No, it's not able to. And now Durant is going to be able to fire off another powerful attack. We'll see which one he opted to target here. Max Knuckle, I'm going to assume that goes into Lucario again. Oh, no, it goes into Snorlax here.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely, but we do have to remember that after this turn, the Durant is going to go to sleep due to the yawn.
That's very true. That's very true. All right, we'll see how Kane's able to deal with that. I completely forgot about that, and that's very unfortunate. I believe this is the last turn of Trick Room as well. But that Milotic is still in the back here, and that thing is going to be a huge pain to deal with, especially with a sleeping Durant in Trick Room. We'll see if Dan opts for a Dynamax here. He still doesn't have that option. It looks like he's going to go for a Follow Me in a Coil here, which I do like. The taunt looks like it is worn off. Oh no Follow Me. But Togekiss does move first, and it goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Not quite enough to hit a KO on that Lucario, which would have been very nice. Unfortunately, the Milotic is able to get a Coil up. No crit either from the Togekiss there. Another Meteor Mash comes in from the Lucario. This time it is going to KO. No Babbery Berry there, and the Togekiss is very low. And we'll see if the Durant is able to wake up here. No, it does get sleep turned. So that is the last turn of Sand. I think that's the last turn of Trick Room as well. Yep, that looks like it is. So now the Dynamax is over. Milotic has the boost from the Coil. Even if the Durant wakes up here, he has that Hypnosis available, and there is still Dynamax available from Dan's side of the field.
Yeah, and it looks like he's probably going to get the KO with the Muddy Water. I mean, we'll find out here shortly, but even if the Durant wakes up, I can't see any world where the Durant's able to survive and then get 2 or 3 KOs.
Yeah, and although Dan is down to his last 2 Pokemon, it is just such a nice position for him. He has the Dynamax too, and the Milotic probably just comes in and KOs with some sort of Water Stab. I mean, Durant does not resist that, and this thing is a very strong attacker. Lucario going for the Follow Me just to cover any sort of potential hit from the Durant, who is at +2 attack. Yeah, that is probably going to be a good game here. Max Geyser comes through. We'll see if it is able to pick up the KO. Durant is not very specially defensive. Yeah, it is going to pick up the KO. So that is going to be the GG. Dan picks up 2 games over Kane, and that is going to be the series going over to Dan. Wow, what a commanding series from Dan.
Absolutely. I know during the last the week before the trade deadline ended, Dan was able to pick up a lot of really good Pokemon that he ended up bringing into the playoffs. So, and it looks like
Yeah,
that's really paying
ironically,
off well for him so far.
yeah, ironically that Milotic was on Kane's team earlier this season, but now used against him, we're able to see the power of that Pokemon defensively and offensively. Really, it seemed like he had no answer for that. And while the Durant can be a huge threat, Dan was able to address it pretty well, mostly with sleep. But he also had some Pokemon who resisted that Pokemon stab, and yeah, just very well prepped from Dan, honestly. Um, Coming in, I wasn't expecting his reliance on the Milotic, but that ended up being a very viable strategy, obviously. So that is something to look for going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we just really want to thank you guys, everybody that came to watch this battle today, and just thank you to the players, thank you to Dan and to Artisan Kane for playing, and we're looking forward to all these games going into week 2 of the Sidequest Doubles League playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Big shout out to the players. Big shout out to Baker. Thanks for joining me today. This was a lot of fun to commentate. And yeah, thanks for watching. And we'll catch you in week 2 of the SideQuest Doubles League playoffs.
Absolutely.